Okay, we're going to call the meeting order at 2:03. If you'd please stand up and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Chairperson Fowler.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Pittman.
Here.
Committee Member Reynolds.
Here.
Committee Member DeLong.
Here.
Committee Member Thompson. Advisory Member C.
Here.
Advisory Member Young.
Here.
Advisory Member Steindorf. Advisory Member Grover.
Here.
And Advisory Member Wright.
Yeah.
Okay, hearing of individuals on non-agenda items, this is the time to address the committee about any item not listed on the agenda. If you wish to address the committee on any item listed on the agenda, please follow the directions listed above. I believe we have cards available. Okay. Is there anybody?
Mr. Chairperson, I do have one speaker on non-agenda items, Eric Smith.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I appreciate this opportunity. I'll try to make my comments and as direct as possible, understanding my time limitations. The end of this month, the ORAC has or DWR has a biannual report coming out. And it speaks to a lot of the issues pertaining to ORAC, the replacement of recreation to our community. As many of you know, I've been involved in tourism for many years here in our local economy, worked for both casinos and management. And as I was reading through that report, which I just got it, I'd like to have the full 30 days, but just given a week to kind of digest that, it outlines a lot of, the issues that we have and challenges as a community as it pertains to the lake and whatnot. My analysis is this, to borrow from a movie, a children's movie, Lightning McQueen, Cars. As I was reading through that movie came to mind. And in that movie, it's a children's movie, it's just a story, but there's a lot of fact to that. It talked about the town of Radiator Springs, and it was built on Route 66, right, the famous Route 66. But then the government came along and built Interstate 40, and there was a lot of hopes and a lot of dreams and a lot of thought that this is going to, really put us on the map, really do some big stuff. And the reality is that didn't happen at all. In fact, it kind of like that's kind of like my image. My image that I have. So with the lake. In other words, there's a lot of hopes and dreams and a lot of promises, but at the end of the day, not so much. And there's a lot of, for example, a lot of projects with the boat ramps being built, $30 million. Point is this, the SBF, in my opinion, is absolutely more important than ever before, because the fact is that people are bypassing us. When I looked at the traffic counts that the lake that the state does, 1 million, I really question that. They're going past Orville. They're blowing by us. And so what you do here, the decisions you make here are so absolutely, they're invaluable as to the economic future of Orville. Because you know what, we're living on the disasters, the economic recovery, and a lot of what's happened here is a result of because, we're living on the fortunes or the misfortunes of other people's miseries with the fires and all of that. But that day's going to come to an end, and we're going to be like Radiator Springs. And so with SBF, the decisions we make, they're so important. They need to be so well-made, well thought through, well crafted. And then I also want to propose that we revisit some of these issues as to the billion-dollar promise that was made that we hopefully will see happen when the lake is relicensed or the dam is relicensed at some point. I think some of those projects need to come off and come into town. And, I think about, real quick, San Antonio, the river area, right? Anyway, I don't have near enough time to unpack all of this. I apologize even for going over time, but I think I'll have probably more time at the ORAC meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Mr. Chairperson, that was the only speaker that I had on non-agenda items.
Okay. Moving to the consent calendar.
Staff would like to pull number 1.
Okay. Any comments? Okay.
I would move that we approve the rest of the consent calendar with item number 1 pulled.
Second.
Any discussion? Call to vote, please.
The motion carries with 4 yeses and 1 absent.
Okay, moving to item number 2, the Oroville Chamber of Commerce Agreement number 3243-3 extension.
Mr. Chairperson, if we could we revisit item number 1 on the consent calendar
sorry.
with an edit?
Please.
Thank you. I have pulled item number 1, the Veterans Memorial Agreement Extension, just due to the adjustment in the verbiage and the amendment to it. You have all been given a updated amendment. So number 1 will read, this agreement will terminate on May 28th, 2022, or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first, is the only edit to that amendment. Questions?
Other than that amendment, Mr. Chairperson, staff recommends the approval of this extension.
I'll make a motion that we accept item number 1 on the consent calendar as amended. Sorry, I got stuck.
Is there a second? Any other discussion? Call to vote, please.
The motion carries with 4 yeses and 1 absent.
Okay, now we'll go to,
So we'd like to move forward to presentations and updates. Since we have a pretty full agenda this evening with updates, we'd like to keep each of these to 5 minutes. So if it's okay with the committee, we're going to do a timer for each update, if that's okay with you. So the first one we have is Eric C. with the SBF contract amendment.
Your butt. There you go.
Oh, there we go, sorry.
Good.
So because of the COVID restrictions in the state ordered by the governor last year, all the departments in the state were restricted to all basically non-discretionary spending. So things that were essential services we were limited to. And so last year we were not able to renew this contract with the SBF. But I got some good news this morning that that's now been lifted, so we are going to be able to proceed with our with that type of spending, those types of contracts, without having to have a bunch of special exemptions and whatnot. So we are going to be able to proceed with that contract. So we plan to do that, and shortly we'll be providing a draft for the city to take a look at, and then we'll get that completed. Once we have the contract, then that's the vehicle that we can use to convey the $100,000. So that's part of a commitment that the department had agreed to back many years ago, and got interrupted for this last year. Anyways, I was pleased to hear that. I really thought we were going to have to wait till the May revise from the governor, but I guess the department's been able to work that out. So that's good news.
Excellent. Thank you. Cool.
Thank you. Next, we're going to have Shauna. Oh, there you are. Shauna Believe, and they have 2 current contract open with SBF that he'll give you a brief update on.
Good afternoon, committee.
Good afternoon.
I don't have the agenda in front of me. Is the Nature Center first or the Nelson Pool? I'll just start with the Nature Center Trail. So moving right along with the trail project through environmental permitting, most of the permits are complete and about to be submitted. One is submitted, notice of exemption to the county. Then there's the 1600 permit to Fish and Wildlife Service and the Central Valley Flood Control Board that are just about to be submitted. And those are about 6 months out, hopefully maximum before their return. So there's a chance we could start construction this fall. That's weather pending. If there's too much rain, then we would not be able to start until after the rainy season. So it could be spring of 2022. Otherwise, the silent title issue that we've had in the past with the properties on that project, we've been able to clear up that property line boundary with the county. We're about to finalize an easement through their properties that are on the project, but everyone's pretty confident that that's going to move through. So that was a big hurdle that could have taken, another year, and that's complete. So we're very happy about that process.
You're to be congratulated because that involves the Spanish land grant.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's a
unique.
big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Thank
work.
Thank you. And any questions about that project before I move on to Nelson Pool?
No?
No, okay. And the pool project, they're just about done with demolition, including the equipment room, and then the materials for the new equipment in the equipment room is on site and starting to be assembled. In the process of demolition, we've ran into one issue that we're trying to resolve how to move forward. Once part of the deck was taken away from above the pool surface, it was noticed that the cap seal of the edge of the pool, the rim joist, I guess you could call it, where the concrete is kind of extra thick, water has gotten under the concrete over the years. That whole area has a layer of sandstone, you may be aware, that only leaves about 4 to 6 inches of soil in the whole area. It comes down from the freeway as a slope. That's part of the project, is to create drainage to capture that water. But I think in the past, that water just comes right under that slab around the pool, and it has corroded. It has eaten away some of the concrete back of the pool rim joist, and some of the rebar is rusting enough to be a concern to where it's starting to break up that edge of the concrete. It doesn't look like it's part of the pool wall at all. The issue may be that we have to cut off the back part of it around potentially the whole pool edge. So we're hoping that's not much of a change order, but we're having that looked at by an engineer at the moment. Otherwise, schedule for that project is on track, as we've discussed in the past, which is August of this year. We're looking to have it complete. Hopefully this issue, again, may add a little bit more time if it's much more work to remove that concrete. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank
You're welcome.
you. Appreciate the update, yeah.
Thank you.
Next, we have PJ with the Veterans Memorial Agreement.
Good afternoon. Good to see you all again. So I have good news that we're really looking forward to getting started with installing the granite bench really soon, which is the first step before we go onto construction with everything else. We have 2 completed new contracts that are signed. We have 2 other one other contract that's waiting for signature, and we're negotiating on the 4th. So we've done the architecture and engineering for the first part in order for us to be able to send it out to bid. We did get the landscaping. I'm happy to hear the trail is moving because we want to coordinate with the Feather River Recreation and Parks District on when we put in the landscaping so we don't walk over each other's projects. And either of us have to redo anything. We did learn from the bid that was put out, the bid option that was put out from the county, that the shade structure is far more expensive than the estimates that the county had provided to us originally. So we actually are going to have to pull that out of the project, but we do have the pass-through funding from the per capita grant that the county and I are working on an application. Even though it's pass-through funding, we still, as many of you know, have to submit an application to actually get that money in. So we expect to cover that there. The goal is first to complete everything that we said we were going to do. And the rest I will probably get into in the next presentation. Any questions?
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
So up next we have Brad with the Feather River Center.
Good news that we have is we have spent 2/3 of our funding and met all the categories so far. We've had one delay on a permitting issue with our aquatic park, and we're in the process right now with DWR and state parks. It's looking like that project will be possibly postponed until the fall. So that's the only kind of drawback that we've had. We also have a shade shelter. Things have gotten quite expensive, and so I went a little bit over budget, but the facilities projects that we're doing at the Forebay look like they're going to be completed by the beginning of the summer season.
Excellent.
Good.
The really good news is for the first time ever, we're opening in early May, and we're going to be open 7 days a week for the first time. So this is a sign of us making this progress and becoming, a 7-day-a-week seasonal facility. And that's thanks to SBF funding and people's support. So thank you.
Any questions?
I got one. So far this year, what kind of population has been utilizing your facility or?
So we haven't been open yet. We had one preseason just test run weekend, and it was packed. And of course, our place is a family destination, without a doubt. Dogs, families, picnics, and a lot of school kids are going to be coming out in May.
Good.
Because the schools are getting the green light finally, and they're starting to call, and I think we're going to be really big on the schools.
The permit you mentioned, what project was that for?
So that's our aquatic park, our floating play structure, that requires 2 yards of anchors dropped into the lake to secure it. I have a picture of it too that I should show. It turns out that DWR, because it's going into a water body, we need to follow permitting.
Okay.
And so I have an engineering company helping us with that permitting. And I don't want to, optimistically, it could be up and running by the end of the summer, but I'm going to say next year.
Is that one of the Tarzan floating?
I picture it like a bounce house on the water.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna show.
Pictures are everything. You're ready to go.
Can you guys see that from here?
Yeah.
So it's a yeah. It's a multi-structure, multiple pieces, and this is just the beginning. You'll see these things in beaches and Cancun and stuff, and they're 15 times bigger than this, so this is our baby step to see if we can make it work.
Excellent.
So I think it'll be really popular once we get it permitted.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Brad, I want to say thank you for having your staff down at the Wildflower Festival doing the kayaking. I've had nothing but positive results from everybody, so keep up the good work.
Thank you. One quick note is we are also going to be present for concerts in the park, doing boat rentals. So some great things, thanks to Sean, are starting to happen where we're going to be involved aquatically with everything. So, thank you.
Thank you. So the next three contracts, updates are going to be for the event coordinator positions that you have appointed. First one is Orville Chamber, then we're gonna have Amber. Update.
Hiding in the back. So I just wanted to say thank you for approving the extension to our current contract, because due to COVID, we weren't able to do stuff like do boosted posts on events, because events were not happening, which is why we had leftover funding. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to put on your guys' radar, we were potentially going to ask for more funding for Salmon Festival if our DWR contract did not go through, but thanks to Eric's good news, we're
Things will go faster now.
awesome. I like faster.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give you a quick update on what we do with our current contracts. So, of course, we promote tourism in Oroville, and we try and get more of Oroville information out to the community. So the few ways we do that, number one is websites. So we run 3 different websites. Visit Oroville.com, which per month on average gets about 800 visits and 1,300 page views. Like Oroville.com, which per month on average gets 1,000 unique visits and 1,800 page views, and OrovilleChamber.com, which is 560 unique visits and 1,000 page views per month. And everything that has to do with tourism is shared across all 3 pages. Now, Visit Orville is what was funded through SBF originally, and so we just constantly keep it updated with community events. For example, we just recently updated the Feather Fiesta Days page with everything that's going to be happening with Feather Fiesta Days, the Farmers Market. We also have pages for Salmon Festival, Olive Festival, Parade of Lights, Arbor Days. We have several pages we try to keep updated so the community has one central place to go to for event information. Another way we use this contract is for digital billboards through STOT. They were able to get me the analytic that between our 3 digital billboards, our billboards are seen 292,000 times per month. So that's a big way that we can promote events in Oroville. Then we also do social media. So over our contract time period on Facebook, we have about 2,000 page likes, which has been an increase of 150 people since the start of this contract. Our total reach is 163,000, which reach is how many people see individual posts. And so compared to the same time period in 2019, 2020, that's an increase of 20,000 people we've reached. Total impressions is 247,000 over this time period. Fortunately, this was a decrease of 10,000 impressions, which is how many times a post is seen compared to the same time period in 2019, 2020. But that is due to we didn't boost any posts in this last year since events weren't happening. And whenever we spend money to boost posts, it greatly increases the reach and impressions we get on our posts. Our most popular post reached 7,700 7,700 people and had 530 engagements, which is reactions, comments, and shares. And Bill is here. That post was the goats. That was our most popular post since July of last year. And then the last thing we do is we run our visitor center out of the Orville Chamber office. So this includes daily promotion through answering phone calls, emails, walk-ins, and questions through social media on anything that has to do with Oroville. We also run booths at events. So this year we were able to run a booth at the Wildflower and Nature Festival and hand out visitor information to the over 3,000 attendees that attended that event. And then we have partnerships within the city to help get more information out there. So we partner with the city docents, Feather River Recreation and Parks District, both casinos, and Explore Butte County to collect and disseminate tourism information. So, any questions?
No, good job. Thanks. Good job.
Anything out?
I don't think so.
Good job.
Thank
good
you.
job.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you, Amber. Up next, we have Robin with the Oroville Downtown Business Association.
We're following up, this is regarding the contract with Feather Fiesta Days right now, correct? Okay, so our Feather Fiesta Days contract, early on with COVID, we didn't know Feather Fiesta Days was going to happen. Our event coordinator that we were planning on using, due to COVID, her schedule changed. Also, Downtown Orville now couldn't afford to hire her full-time like what we had hoped when we first got the contract. So the board had to make kind of a tough decision early on, knowing that Feather Fiesta Days might not look the same. And our idea was mainly because the chamber was funneling people to me, so I knew they were going to the chamber first. So since the chamber is already going to be doing Salmon Festival, I suggested to the board, let's hire the chamber the full amount, the $4,500 that the SBF is giving Downtown Orville, and hire the chamber for $4,500 to put on Feather Fiesta Days, which we all know is really going to happen in Salmon Festival time. So that's what the board decided to do. So really, Amber has been doing most of the meetings for those, and we've really encouraged most of the groups associated with Feather Fiesta Days and the events they're going to have to do them on Salmon Festival when we all know we'll be a little bit safer for the community as a whole. So that's kind of what we decided to do with your funds.
Oh,
was
good idea.
put them all towards Salmon Festival. So we hope Salmon Festival will be one huge event and have everything happening at it. The car show, the parade, salmon, what else? Craft fair, pretty much everything all at once. So, any questions?
I have a quick one if I may.
Yeah.
My understanding is there's a revitalization of some youth to the car group, the Oro Dam Cruisers. And I believe what I heard yesterday was the fact they're actually having a poker run tomorrow or this weekend with that group. And there is a hope they might come back to eventual car show again downtown. I don't know if you're aware of that.
So Amber has been in contact with the new, she finally hunted down the new president.
Yeah.
So she has been in contact with them. So
Yeah.
the hope is with kind of new leadership, new president,
Right.
and doing things because definitely before COVID, when I went to the meeting with the car show with the people that were retiring, they were very against change and updating the way that they were doing anything.
Yeah.
So I was glad that Amber's able to make contact with them. And that's pretty much why I said, let's hire the chamber, because they have a lot of contacts already with a lot of people in town. And since Downtown Orville isn't where we wanted to be with hiring a full-time person, this one-day event takes a lot of time. And especially with COVID happening and some businesses struggling, we realized we needed to focus our time on our businesses and let the chamber continue to focus on the community events, which they're good at.
Good. Amber, I would add Sarah Nolan in your contact list on that. Yeah, she's working directly for that president, so.
Thank you.
Perfect.
We heard about that on Tuesday, so.
See, it's how we find people.
Well, they have an interest in cars at a Pioneer so that'll be
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, we want them back downtown.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it.
Cool, thank you.
Any other questions? Comments?
No.
Thank you.
So our next would be Ray Logger. Looks like isn't joining us today. Is he not online as well? So I will get a written update for you guys and get it out to you this week. I have spoke with him. I thought he would be attending, so I apologize for that. His contract does cover Wildflower Festival and 4th of July. So I will get those updates for you. Since Wildflower has already passed, we'll get some attendance numbers and everything like that from him for you. For some
thank you.
updates.
Thank you.
Okay, so I believe we're moving on to regular business now.
Yes. So for regular business, we are excited. It's the 2021 NOFA that you guys released. I have provided each committee member with an updated staff report. We had noticed that the fiscal impact needed to be updated on that staff report last minute today. Apologize for that. Each of you have one in front of you. And so we released a $200,000 NOFA on January 20th, 2021. We held a workshop for that NOFA on February 4th. The applications closed on March 22nd, and we received the 5 applicants that you see in front of you today. The order of applicants below are just in the order we received them. Staff reviewed all applications and proceeded with approving them to meet all requirements to be presented in front of the committee. So we have asked them all to attend today and present their application to you in a 5 to 10 minute presentation. I would recommend that we wait until after all presentations for questions. If you have any, then we can move forward with awarding some funds if you see fit. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, first we have Stage. Looks like we have Jim Mull from Stage.
I hope you're not afraid of public speaking.
I get so nervous I speak. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. I've got some, not audio-visual, but some visual items for our presentation. I thought the best way to go ahead and make this presentation is to give some visual idea of
Thank you.
the projects that we are envisioning with this round. So what you're seeing is on the first 3 pages of that, you're seeing how our current lobby looks downstairs with the improvements that we've been making over the last couple of years, restorations in the area that are original in style and design. And I'd like you, if you would, to please take a close note of both the ceiling and the intricate detail on the walls. These are authentic representations of the designs in place when the theater opened 93 years ago this month. We hired a Bay Area restoration artist who worked on the Fox Theater restoration in Oakland to reproduce those designs for us locally. She's also the artist who uncovered the mural on the north staircase in the theater lobby, and she will also be the one that we will engage for if our application request is successful today. Now, the last 2 pages are the area that will receive the focus of the SBF grant. Over the decades, as you can see on those last 2 pages, quick and easy paint covered the walls, and the carpeting, as you can also see, is well beyond its useful life. Now, the funds we're requesting today will improve the mezzanine area and make it more functional for smaller events when the use of the entire theater is not needed. While the present SBF grant does not require any matching funds, Stan and Jean Hall underwrote the cost of 5 of those chandeliers that you see in the pictures there in anticipation of restoration of the mezzanine. Their investment in those chandeliers is $22,000, and the chandeliers are accurate replicas of the original lighting in the theater. Stage, as you know, is an anchor in downtown Oroville. Your approval of the request today would continue to build on that legacy. The State Theater, of course, is not just a performing arts center. Certainly, the facility does host a number of dance and musical events, but our lobby has also been used for a variety of other activities. Most recently as the serving area for the very successful Farm to Table event sponsored by the Downtown Business Association. We've also in the past hosted the Artists of Rivertown and also presented the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. The lobby has also been used as a reception area for high school reunions in the past, and organizers of the Feather Fiesta Days have also used it for the car show. And the theater, of course, has also been the community clearinghouse following major events like the Spillway and the Campfire. The Marquee, which of course the SBF has been a significant part of funding and underwriting. The Marquee is a community events billboard currently listing the top 10 students from each of our local high schools. And next month, graduating elementary and high school students will also see their name in lights on a rotating basis throughout the month of May and early June. The grant today would be a further investment in the jewel of downtown Oroville and its legacy for the future. Thank you.
Any questions? All right. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Next, we have a presentation from the Downtown Orville Business Association.
You get half of it. Okay, so I'm Robin Zanin. I'm the president of Downtown Orville and the owner of Gallery Interiors. Who is Downtown Orville? Well, we're a whole bunch of random businesses thrown together in one area that are definitely dedicated to making our downtown better and thrive and bring people to our cute little charming downtown. Let's see, project overview. Thanks, Jackie. Okay, so this project intends to renovate Miners Alley from Huntoon to Downer, which is like Gray Nurse, to the end of Orville Inn, and make it a usable and unique special event space. If you consider downtown Orville to be the heart of Orville, well, Miners Alley is literally the heart of downtown Orville. And there's a lot of historic buildings that back up to Miners Alley. So our project, part one, is kind of renovation of the project. So first we want to clean and add fresh paint and a unified look to buildings, which we've kind of started. We would like to continue that red at least partially all the way through, just because it attracts you, and also that way we have the paint for when the graffiti happens, because we all know that will happen. And just that building that you see on the slide on the left, we've already touched it up twice from graffiti. So just having the same paint color would do wonders for a lot of those buildings in the alleyway. We would also like to add gooseneck lighting to not only create some ambiance, but also for safety. The picture on the right is an example of the gooseneck lighting already on the Gray Nurse building. So we would like to do that along the 2 blocks to really light up the alleyway. Next part is the middle picture is adding, oh, that's not the next part, but I'll skip to the middle picture. We would like to add some decorative fencing along the alleyway. In the back of some buildings, there's really ugly chain link fencing, and it's just an eyesore. So, but the trash cans also back up to that fencing. So right now we've been in talks with the city to move the trash cans to municipal parking lot A and to make a big trash enclosure to get rid of the little trash cans and the big dumpsters in the alleyways that way they can't be gone through by certain individuals, and it doesn't smell as bad in the alleyways due to the restaurants and hopefully more restaurants that will be coming in downtown. But Metalworks has definitely said that they would use some sheet metal and cut out pretty things such as like poppies, so that way you can still see through it for safety, but it hides what's behind the buildings. Also, we already have some Miners Alley archways, like at the end of one of the blocks, there's 2 Miners Alley archways, but we would like to continue those onto the next block and actually the block behind as well. Just because Miners Alley is really known in this town, and so why not highlight it a little bit more? The reason we would love to do this is to have some events in the alleyway. So we are asking for fundings to fund things such as live music, art shows, history talks. There's a picture of one of the most recent history talks. I think he had over 100 people attend, and it's a free thing, and we're getting really good feedback. People really want to know about the community, and they don't just want to come downtown to shop and eat. They also want to learn about our downtown. We would purchase tables for things if we want to pull in some more food trucks, standing heaters, especially with COVID and all the outdoor eating that has occurred. We've realized we could use a little bit more of that space in our downtown area, and we could help do that for our restaurants, some of the ones that don't have a ton of outdoor space as well. Lastly, I learned what bollards are during this. We would like to install some bollards, which is hardware, so that way they're like the nice looking pillars, protect you from cars coming in, but people can still walk. But we want them, of course, to be temporary because the alley has to be used as well. A lot of delivery trucks do use the alleyway. So when there are events, we would like to be able to install them and then take them away.
So no drag racing in the alley anymore then, huh?
Not on event nights. Let's see. The connection to the river. Well, since it's downtown, we are definitely right next to the river. Last year we did a lot of vision setting, and one of our goals was to bring people downtown and remind them of our river. And our restaurants, especially Union, is finding that they are serving a lot of people that are enjoying like walks on the river, that they are going up Table Mountain, that they are definitely enjoying our outdoors and then coming downtown to explore. And we would like to highlight our alley because right now it is not necessarily the funnest to walk through, being that my own building backs up to it. One of the reasons we came up with this was over the past 2 months, we had a survey out there for community members asking them things about downtown, things about Orville, even if they knew where downtown Orville was located. That was a funny one. But these were some of the additional comments that people made. They asked that Miners Alley could be a super cool walk-through spot with outdoor seating and restaurants, but it's neglected and underutilized. Somebody else said improve Miners Alley and more events like the Salmon Festival and swap meets to connect the historic. So people are definitely wanting us to connect the historic to make our weird things a bit cooler. And that's what we're trying to do, is make the alley, and especially with the help of the city of moving those trash cans, that's a big help to help utilize our alley in a different way. Lastly, the budget. So the majority definitely goes towards that lighting, because that's going to be an expensive cost to light 2 blocks. But also the painting, and if you scroll down, the Miners Alley arches is included in there as well. Can you scroll for me? Yeah, thanks. There we go. And then I would say the events, we would definitely make whatever events we have downtown, include that alley once it gets beautified and adds an aesthetic niceness to it. So the total is $55,000 that we are asking for. Lastly, we definitely try to support our community with these projects. We don't ask for things that we don't think we can do, and we definitely think we can beautify the alley and support businesses, local businesses, while doing so. These are just a list of some of the businesses we have supported in the past with some of our other SBF projects, such as the lighting in downtown Orville that was funded by SBF that people to this day appreciate that it's lit up at night. The billboards, people always love seeing the billboard. That was an SBF funded project. So we appreciate when you do fund projects because they are definitely seen and known in downtown businesses and our customers notice it. So that's it. Don't ask me any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Next, we have Rotary Club of Orville.
I get a clicker too? You do. Nice. Well, hopefully my clicks work. Good afternoon, committee. Thank you for having us here this afternoon. My name is Dean Gurr. I'm past president of the Rotary Club of Orville. I'm here with my fellow past president Rotarian, Amy Jernigan. And we are here because the Rotary Club of Orville will be celebrating our centennial in 2024. Personally, as a Rotarian, we think that's a pretty big deal. We've been serving the community with several programs over that time, and there's many projects within our community that are recognizable as Rotarian projects, anywhere from Rotary Park downtown, the centennial clock that's on the sidewalk in downtown Orville, the metal sculptures along the river and Swimbo Trail. We can go on and on about Rotary projects, but there are many. And for our centennial, we've kind of set our sights high. We want something that is impactful to our community, is a large-scale project, and something that can be remembered and enjoyed for years into our next century. So first of all, our proposed project is the lighting of the Table Mountain Bridge. Look at that. First off, why should we do this? Number one, lights are inspirational. I mean, since our creation, we have looked up to the heavens in awe of the lights that shine in our night sky. And though, you know, the Aurora Borealis is something that's really impressive that we don't see here that often, but I don't know how many remember back in 95 or 96 when we can actually see them from our downtown area. It was a phenomenon. It was quite enjoyable. Lights, we celebrate with lights, whether that be putting candles on the birthday cake of our 5-year-old, lighting our homes during the holidays, or lighting our night skies when we celebrate the birth of our nation. Try that again. And we honor what's important to us with lights. We light the things we love, and in some cases, we light the things that we lost. Bridges are an iconic and prominent feature of just about every town and city throughout our country. On a grand scale, they are functional, of course. They get traffic from one side to the other, but they're all usually also architecturally pleasing. So in this manner, when they're lit, we can enjoy them in the nighttime as well as in the day. There's other projects that aren't quite as grand as the San Francisco Bay Bridge. They can be anywhere from bridges that carry auto traffic from one side to the other, or pedestrian bridges such as the Elmore Bridge in Tempe, Arizona. Closer to home, we have the Tower Bridge here in Sacramento, which is easily recognizable from many spots in downtown Sacramento and spans the Sacramento River. Closer to home still and more recent, we have the Sundial Bridge. Just an amazing bridge to look out during the daytime, and they've done a fantastic job illuminating at night as well. I'm going to allude here for a moment to another of our shining stars, which we've had a little bit of a recap here today. Jim Mullen, the stage organization, has done a fantastic job in the renovation of that. And they have done just exactly what we want to do with that bridge, they have already done with the State Theater. They have lit it up beautifully. And not only does this lighting, is it historically accurate with the of the era when this was built, but they've taken the advantage of the modern technology to have a dynamic scrolling marquee up front as well. So I also want to add, if you look a little deeper into this photograph, you can notice the string lights that are hanging from the fronts of the storefronts downtown. The Downtown Business Association has done a great job at distributing and installing these lights throughout the downtown area, which in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of many people, that is an incredible improvement. And we just want to kind of extend that energy, those lights into the Table Mountain Bridge. Now, of course, the Table Mountain Bridge was constructed between 1907 and 1910 and served as both vehicular and pedestrian traffic over the bridge. Today, it serves as just a pedestrian bridge as it was replaced by an auto bridge to its east in the late 1980s. Now, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is the only bridge in the city of Orville with historical relevance downtown. And it is a very recognizable, iconic feature in downtown in the city of Orville. It's even so iconic and recognizable that it was chosen as the cover photograph of the conceptual plan for this committee. Go back one, sorry. Now this was, of course, when this came across our minds, we're thinking, hey, this is a cool idea, No one's ever thought of this before, but in fact, it has been. This, digging back in history, was how the bridge was celebrated just about a year after her completion. I did not know that Orville Water Carnival was a thing, but I've come to learn a little bit about it. It was a floating parade down the river. And of course, in the centerpiece of that water festival was our Table Mountain Bridge, beautifully adorned at night. This is how our bridge now looks at night. And in honor of the history of the bridge, of the lighting in 1911 and the water carnival, this is how we would like it to look. So this is historically appropriate to what we have seen as renditions that we have in that article in the past. However, we want to take it a step further. Much like Stage has done with theirs, they've embraced the modern technology available in the lighting and the marquee. We would like to use the modern lights that are available to us by lighting it in full color. Approximately 5,000 individual color nodes will be completely programmable and to whatever event, whatever style, whatever lighting configuration that we would like to have for that event. We draw some inspiration from the Mighty Lights of Memphis. I've been down so many rabbit holes with this project, and this one is probably the closest, although it's a pretty grand project. This is really what we kind of aspire to. We would like the bridge to be a centerpiece of the Feather River in the center of the city of Orville. Here, what they do is being fully programmable. Every night from sunset until about 10:30 at night, they have a light show on the bridge is. And it is just, from what I've seen online, the videos and stuff, it's just stunning. And the amount of people that it attracts to their riverfront is incredible. It is definitely a thing to be seen if you are visiting or touring near Memphis. So why should we do this? I can think of lots of reasons to light this bridge. Just to recap, brainstorming within our Rotary organization, it highlights our iconic, recognizable asset. It honors the history of the bridge itself as well as the water carnival. It brings energy and vitality to the city of Orville, beautifies the nightscape of the Feather River, brings locals to the downtown district, attracts visitors from across Northern California and beyond. It fosters community pride. It will help us celebrate community events and occasions and join a long list of communities that honor and celebrate their bridges and waterways. And I'm going to back up one bullet point back to the help celebrate our community events and occasions. I kind of imagine this being something that is a nightly event. I imagine that we can light the bridge up for special occasions. We could do Earth Day. It could be green and blue lights on there. If we want to dial it down to even closer, if we want to do something like When we have a home game for Las Plumas, we light it red, when purple for Orville High School. For the Bell game, we got one side red and one side purple, and whoever wins the game, we light it up in their school colors. So, and that's just, and we can also do organizations and businesses in a town can sponsor a nightly lighting. If they have a particular theme or event that they want to celebrate, we could program it to their specifications, and it would be their bridge for that night. So, committee members, help us inspire our community. Help us celebrate the Feather River. Help us honor our history and traditions. Let's light it up. And just as a recap, I'm not going to go over too much of the hows within that are here in the proposal that's before you. But just as a recap on the funds, we're asking for $100,000 towards a $400,000 project. We see this as a community-wide fundraising event. We do not see this as one thing that we as a Rotary Club of 50-some-odd members can pull off strictly on our own. We are going to look to other great fundraising examples that have been successful in our community. Just with 5,000 lights, if we're able to sponsor lights individually at $50, there's $250,000 there. And other fundraising opportunities that I think we can get to our goal just fine. This funding would be certainly a shot in the arm at making that happen. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Orville YMCA.
Branch has been serving the Oroville community since 1914 for over 106 years. So we're going on 107 years right now, which is really exciting. Our request is to help us redo and renovate our shower rooms and resurface the bottom of our pool. The YMCA is well known for swimming lessons. We began organized swimming lessons in the country in 1909, and we have been doing that ever since. One of our big things is that we serve over 1 million kids a year in over 2,700 locations. We have about 2,200 pools across the country, and we have over 100 years' experience in teaching kids to swim. We also work with disabled and older adults, which is one of our largest classes, and we also provide a safety around water, which is very important in this part of the country where we have lots of rivers and lakes. So as you can see, 60% of youth drowning incidents occur within 10 feet of safety. 2 children die each day as a result of drowning. 88% of children who drowned were under some form of supervision. Swimming lessons saves lives. By participating in swimming lessons, we reduce the risk of drowning by 88% among children aged 1 to 4. Some really significant numbers there. And it's really important, especially with the Feather River and Lake Oroville right here. It's really important to get all of our children and adults trained in swimming lessons and safety around water. As you can see, we have some work to do on our pool. The major part is our shower room, which was created by the water heater, which is in the back of our building. There was a lot of leakage, which led to damage of the floor in the shower rooms of both the men and women's shower room. We also have a lot of dry rot and resurfacing to do. And then, as we all know, we were hit by several fires over the past couple of years, which ate away the pool. You can't see it very well, but the surface of the bottom of our pool has been eaten away by the ash. And so we really need to get that resurfaced. There we go. So the world is 71% water. And all of our kids are 100% curious of the water. Our nexus to the Feather River is less than a quarter of a mile, and it's imperative that this community has the availability of a functional pool and lessons to address water safety, lifeguarding, first responder, first aid, and CPR courses. Our pool operates year-round, and so we are able to give swimming lessons. We provide water fitness, we have lap swimming, and we also have pool parties and all sorts of fun things going on in the pool. Our summer kids use it during the summer also. Our request includes restoration of our bathrooms and showers, water heater, repair of the pool bottom that was damaged in the Bear Complex fire. We would like to also look at covering the pool, a removable cover so we can put it up in the wintertime so we can operate we operate right now during the rain because you're wet anyway and you're in the pool. But it's also nice for some of our older adults that they like to come in and out of the pool. And by restoring these items, the YMCA will be able to use the facilities and increase our ability to serve more of the Oroville community. So part of the safety around water is comfort in submersion, your face and body, comfort swimming on your front and back. We also have the jump, push, turn, and grab. You jump in the pool, you turn around, and you swim back to the edge and grab it. And then also, we teach babies at a young age and others, when they fall in the water, they immediately roll over to their back. It's a great course. It's great. We do it parent-child. We'll be starting a parent-child swim and gym where the kids can play in the gym with their parents, and then we go out to the pool and help parents teach their children how to swim. So together we can do so much more. By working as a community, the YMCA has an ability to teach more than 1 million people how to swim every year. Not here, but we hope to reach the vast majority of the kids and adults in our community. We consider it a priority and responsibility of ours to prevent drowning and to teach people how to be safe in and around the water. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Have that at the end.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this does, thank you. This does conclude the 5 presentations of the 5 applicants that we received for this NOFA. And it's completely up to the commission if they would like. I'm so sorry. I can't count apparently. PJ, I'm sorry. We have our last presentation from PJ with the Veterans Memorial. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Bill.
Okay, so come back to follow. Anyway, so and really what we're doing is asking for some additional funds in order to be able to complete the project. Plus, we're adding a little bit extra donations of ourselves. We know that could not be covered by SBF funds or per capita funding. We have 2 memorials that are right by the flagpole that we must install during this project for safety reasons, because otherwise it would leave rebar sticking up by the flagpole. And these are monuments of honor. One monument of honor goes to 2 veterans who were honored with the Medal of Honor that are from Oroville. And then the other monument is for the service of all the people in the Secret War, support of our Hmong community. So that is the donation that we're adding, even though we realize there's no match. And we saved a little bit of money, tiny bit of money on the granite bench purchase and installation, only $1,960. And then we found out since the campfire, everyone knows prices have gone up. Our twisted steel bench for sitting on a rest stop by the river is now, I know it says here to be $30,000, and the committee's actually going to have to come up with another $8,000 because we actually have the bid now for that and shipping, and that was over the original estimate of $24,000 that was in the original 2018 grant. Landscaping, that is unchanged, go along the trail. There is some more site, I should say, architecture and engineering involved because of our having to do these, move the flagpole, and we have to revise the shade structure footings element, another safety issue, because we can't install the shade structure right now. So that people could actually use it as a rest stop along the river. So obviously everyone knows this park is really to honor the history of these sacrifices and the service of many members of our community throughout Butte County. So I want to also say the county has given us tremendous support for this project. However, because of all the disasters, they have been faced with staff time crunches, severely faced with staff time crunches, and so they haven't been able to support it as much as they would like to, which is in a large part a lot of the delays, and unfortunately, as we all know, prices go up while there are delays. But they are really on the move now for us, which we are very happy to say. And so the net change is that we need $35,073 in additional funds to complete this phase of the park and without the shade structure. We ask that you consider continuing to support our project. And if you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Well, I think that since you are the last person speaking, it'd be appropriate if if you would like to answer some questions. Are there some questions for PJ?
I don't have any.
No, I don't have any. I'm good.
I would like to ask just a quick question. Just now, this is a rest stop. Is it going to include a restroom?
Part does not include the restroom, but the overall scope of the project was intended to include a restroom.
Do we have any timeline on the restroom, PJ, that you're aware of?
It wouldn't be a part of the per capita project, so I can't say for sure. Well, I can't totally say that none of it would be a part of the per capita project because we actually haven't finished scoping that out. I should have also said that in the per capita project, because our clay bugler statue is now complete and we're in the molding phase, we wanted to get the hardscape in as part of the per capita project. So in other words, do this SBF part of the project first, then get the shade structure in as part of the per capita, and then all the hardscape in order to be able to place the bugler. And then we're, of course, looking at what else we might be able to do, but the bathroom is a quite expensive part of this, as you know. And
What are you thinking that's going to cost?
I think it depends on, I know you've been to meet with the county about that, and I actually cannot speak for the county because I know there's some agreements that need to be in place.
Well, if we could, just so that you're aware, I don't know if anybody brought this back to you, but the city council allocated $100,000 for that project. So we have $100,000 sitting there waiting to spend. So we need pressure on the county to come up with the other part of that.
Okay.
Because, we need the facility there. Would it like to have the facility there as part of our trail modifications and improvements?
I'm totally with you on that personally. And I've also looked at some other options that are kind of similar to the one you were proposing?
I think they're pretty set on what is in the original plan. I mean, the original building style that the county wants, they're really kind of bought into that design, and I appreciate that. It's a good design. It aesthetically fits. What we had originally talked about would be unusual when you look at everything else, and then there's this thing. I mean, so I understand their reluctance to the original idea. So, but anyway, we can have this discussion elsewhere. I just wanted to know if any of these dollars were being spent toward accomplishing that goal.
Like I say, it isn't cast in stone what we're going to do yet. I appreciate that information. When the city and the county talk, I will just say I work for a nonprofit, and I am not always privy to what happens in those discussions, so I very much appreciate your comment.
Very quickly, Bill, can you elaborate what kind of bathroom we're talking about, potentially?
The one at the Veterans Memorial is a structure similar like you would see an existing bathroom now, like at Hewitt Park, Rotary Park, or at in downtown Orville. It's a structure that is aesthetically similar to the rest of the features at the Veterans Memorial. What we were talking about doing was putting a Portland loo in there, which is a metal oval looking structure that is designed to withstand tampering, resistance, and vandalism, but it didn't aesthetically fit what the park was. So it would have looked, it's a very beautiful park. I mean, when you see all the drawings and it's completed, and then we'd have this metal thing sitting there. So it was,
Gotcha.
After discussion, it was, decided that that's probably not the best fit for that park.
And you say there's $100,000 sitting that's designated from the city of Orville for that potential project?
Correct.
Or as
We
a
allocated,
potential?
we are putting bathrooms along the Feather River Trail. And there are Portland loos in a couple different locations. So we took the money that we were going to use for the Portland loo at that location, and instead of spending it as a Portland loo, the council allocated those dollars to fund that bathroom to be built. So I'm sure the cost is going to be more than 100. It's probably going to be somewhere around 150, 160, somewhere in that area. But we've covered we did the heavy lifting, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for PJ?
No, thank you.
Comments? Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, do we have any other questions for any of our
I do
proposals?
have one for the Rotary project, if I may.
Yes, sir.
There are two things. One thing I want to mention, Clay Castleberry, he was the Public Works Director when they put the new bridge in, and he made the overall direction to leave the old one there, and I think that was probably hindsight a great contribution on his part to leave it there.
Agreed.
He is somewhat of a historian of old bridges, and there's a long story there. But with the bridge project you're talking about, could you let us know who the owner is, and is the owner willing to accept this idea?
The owner of the bridge is Butte County. And we have started preliminary talks with the Public Works Director and opened up an application, an easement permit with the county for that purpose. Of course, there's a lot of I's to be dotted and a lot of T's to be crossed before we ever get an easement permit that is actionable. So we have been giving, so far, without any official action on the part of the county, we have been encouraged that this is a project that is certainly feasible. And should be able to be accomplished. And it's just a matter of getting everybody on board on the same page.
Thank you. That was my question.
Okay. Anybody else?
Questions, comments?
I do have a question. What if we're on Rotary? Are we allowed to vote on this?
Well, that would not be a question I would answer. But
we don't.
You have no financial interest in this.
Okay.
Staff has just some generalized questions just regarding the maintenance of this. Since this is a county-owned bridge and going to be essentially a public service group project, we're going to have to insist that there's a maintenance agreement, and we are not the maintenance party to that. It's not our bridge. We don't work on bridges. We don't have the expertise or knowledge or anything or skills to work on bridges. So we would have to have a maintenance agreement on this. We would also like to see some sort of a business plan as to if we're going to be selling time on this, who gets the money, how is it shared, does it come back to this committee, to the SBF, does it go to support the Rotary? I have no problem. I love this idea. I think it's a integral part of what we're doing. I just want to work out these details prior to. us getting to that point, and I'd hate to see us get all the way to the end and we find out we can't do this. We would also need some sort of hold harmless agreement if we're going to be doing any modifications to that bridge over the top of a river. Anything that goes into the river, this body cannot be responsible for. It's going to have to be whoever is doing the work, so there would have to be some heavy insurances and things like that. So I agree with Dean. There are some hurdles on this, but I also encourage the committee. This is a good project. If we get our walkway done, we get which we are working toward getting done now, and we get the roundabout done, this ties the two things together and opens up that entryway, because we are also talking about, as a city, putting up a entry sign at the top of the hill where the olive orchard used to be that says, "Welcome to beautiful downtown Orville," and it's kind of completes the entrance of the gateway, because there is that gap in there now. So this is a great project, and we just need to work out these details.
I agree. There are some hurdles to be jumped over to make sure we get those crossed. And we do have our eye on the ball when it comes to maintenance costs of that. Certainly, we're looking for the electrical supply there now is, of course, it's grid tied. There's not much of a draw on it now, and this would increase that. We're looking at maybe some solar solutions to go along with that. We're also, again, the sponsorship of doing a dedicated nightly lighting to businesses and organizations would be a source of funding for the specific, for the specific purpose of ongoing maintenance of that type of project. And there's probably a half a dozen other things we haven't quite uncovered yet, but that is certainly within our sight.
Dean, I'd just like to say I think this is one of the best ideas I've seen so far presented, and you really did a great presentation.
Thank you, Ken.
I'm not the only one that's excited about this. I can tell. I can see behind you. Celebrating the old, that's what I'm behind. I think Orville's a great city, and this showcases it. So, yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Oh, you're paying a major fine for this.
Well, you do need to have compliments. I had not seen that presentation. I'm still sitting here impressed. I'll even add to the chairman's comments that I got a phone call from my granddaughter, and she thinks it's a really good idea.
I love your granddaughter.
Yeah, boy.
Any more questions from the committee for any applicants?
You got a question back there?
Aaron Wright, State Parks. I love the idea. My only concern is traffic. Has there been any consideration if you have flashing lights and you're going towards that roundabout, just something to consider? Do we need more signage, something that might be included in the project?
Sure, that's correct, yeah. Good point. Yeah, good point. I would like to say also compliments to all the applicants here. There's been a huge amount of work done here. And I know it's not easy to fill out applications and present your project, so thank you all for that. Very good projects, and well worthy of funding all.
And I would agree. I think everybody did a great job presenting today. Thank you. I wish we had a lot more money. I really do.
Yeah, I think everything today, is much needed in our community. One thing I do struggle with, and I'm new to the committee here, so I'm trying to learn as rapidly like how things are supposed to work and go. But I have noticed that most of the funds and all these things, like I say, we need this stuff in our community, but I don't see a lot going towards other recreational new opportunities. What I see, being a person that's out riding bikes and hiking and stuff, is actually we're losing some of our resources we used to have for people to bike in. We're losing some trails. We're losing swimming areas where people can go to the lake and swim. So somewhere down the point, I don't know where it comes from, but it seems like somehow we should get together and get a group that really focuses on the recreational opportunities we have here in this area. What Orville has, man, we got woods. We got some really good stuff around here. And if we were to package that into something where people want to come to our community and like Downeyville and go ride mountain bikes for the day, or have some simple little water feature in the river. It doesn't have to be a whitewater park. It could be a little wave that, kids can boogie board on. If we could start gearing more towards some recreational things in the future, I think it might lead to more economic development and people coming in and using, the downtown business area. And it's disheartening for me. I know I'm a little bit like Sonny, but I see us going in the wrong direction. I really do. And a lot of it's, disaster related, and things close, and then that's just kind of it. They're no longer open, and everybody's busy, and other things are going on, and we're doing our own projects and the downtown area and stuff. But I really hope we can start seeing an improvement. I guess and what I'm saying is some of our recreational opportunities we have around here. There's just so many that I see, and my mind kind of operates a little bit like a kid. Like when the river was up and I was down at Bedrock, I looked at the end of Bedrock, the little bridge we have there, and it was producing a great little wave that kids could have gone boogie boarding in with a eddy that recirculates you back into the wood. But there's so much concrete chunks and rebar in it, it really wouldn't be safe to do that there with the current condition. But simple little things, I think we could make some big improvements and really make some cool recreational features in the Orville area that, which is what I feel the SBF fund is really here for, is for our recreation and being able to get out there and do these things. But everything that I saw today, I mean, wow, yeah, we really need this stuff. There's not a lot of money, and I'm hoping we can start seeing some recreational improvements for everybody in the community.
Thank you, Shannon. Councilman Pittman?
Yeah, we get down to the funding part, and Shannon, thank you for your comments. Essentially, we have a request here for, and correct me if I'm wrong, $294,073, which is over our $200,000 allocation. So we are short $94,073. Is there an amount of money we could use from the remaining balance of the fiscal impact and apply that to these grants?
I believe, Councilman Pittman, you could right now extend up to $455,000 worth of grants if you chose to.
Okay. The reason my idea came up is, thank you, Eric, for your comments about the contract proposal. It makes my idea a little more comforting and secure to make the following recommendation, that we would fund all the grants presented today.
Well, I should caveat my comments. It's not over till it's over. So, I'll believe it when we get this director's.
I don't need to see your check today. That's okay. Your word's good enough for me.
Let Eric can make up the difference.
But with that idea, I'm going to make a motion that we approve all the projects presented, and then consequently, whatever staff finds necessary to move the money from one account to the other. Whatever your recommendation is. That'll be my motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Any comments? Questions?
One real quick thing that I have before I can go along is I do see the lighting of the alleyway, vital, because it could be a pedestrian route into town from the trails, which I think is a great idea. I think pedestrian downtown, man, if the more we could do of that, people would talk about it and come here to check it out. The YMCA building, is there, and no offense, I'm not trying to pick yours apart, but is that pool in a good enough condition where, like, maintenance is the key? Is that building, are you guys going to be there for a while? Is there historical significance to it? Is it? Okay.
We're expanding.
That was my other question.
Yes, we're expanding to the municipal auditorium, but that's going to be our aquatic center right there. And so it's going to be able to focus on a lot more aquatic programs. In fact, we're talking about doing the YMCA Water Warriors, which would mean that now the kids could know how to swim. Let's show them what else is in the area. Let's teach them how to kayak, teach them how to teach them do water polo, all of the things that you can do now that you know how to swim if you don't want to do competitive swimming. and then expand out that way. So we'll be really functioning from that pool and from that building area for those things.
For a
And how
while.
to utilize, like you were talking about, how to utilize the river safely.
That's, yeah.
Get out, enjoy this area.
So I have a question for you. Does your aquatics programs, does it generate revenue, or are you subsidizing it through whatever funding that you're getting?
We cover the costs, and we also apply for financial assistance for the kids that can't afford the program. And so we have scholarships that we also receive funding for. We do annual campaigns.
Do you have a general amount of kids per year that are being covered that are on the low spectrum? How many are they, roughly?
I'd have to look at that.
I know.
I do know that we do have our regular scholarships, so we do look at the financial need and see how many need that in this area. I would say most of them would be 50%, are covered 50% with the scholarships that come through. We probably service or help maybe 30 to 40 kids a month average with all of our swim lessons, including like baby and me, especially during the summertime, because we were just packed with the swim lessons. We started our swim lessons early this year, it was April, and we were packed all month long. So it's just been really needed and really wanted, and like I said, most of those families do have scholarships applied to their programs of up to 50%. Right now, we did have scholarships that came from the YMCA, I believe, that asked that we're able to scholarship some families, so if they have like a whole bunch of kids or something, up to 100%, if there's really the need to it. I can't tell you how many kids there are, because I don't have those right in front of me, but yeah. We also have another organization that comes in every year.
Would you mind stepping up to the podium? Thank you.
I like podiums.
It just dawned on me, so.
Yeah.
I'll kind of introduce myself too. I'm Sarah Pierce. I am your program director here at YMCA. That's why I kind of know what's going on at this particular YMCA. We do have the YMCA that, like I said, for 100. We also have another program here in the area that gives us up to $500, roughly a year, to be able to scholarship even more families 100%. So that covers roughly 10 more families for their swim lessons. So we try to make it, our theory at the YMCA is cost shouldn't be an option. Oh, how does he say it? How does he say it?
Cost not a barrier.
Cost shouldn't be an obstacle for you to be able to swim or be able to improve and be healthy.
And I would agree with that. I was just curious if you guys do make any money, though.
Oh, we do, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
We do.
I pay for my 2 children.
Okay.
I pay for mine too. Miss Denise taught my 2 children to swim at the YMCA pool, and it helps. She could do what I could not do in my parents' pool.
Oh, it really helps. My daughter wouldn't even get underwater, and now she jumps in, and she's only been going 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Well, I would agree. It's a very important program. I learned to swim in a pool across the street, a public pool, but nonetheless, at 4 years of age. And I love the water, and it scares me every summer to watch these ignorant children go into our river, and then they're being rescued. Thank God they're being rescued. Everybody should be able to swim.
We also have a collaboration with the local swim team right now too, so that if they have kids that aren't ready to swim all the way across the pool, they send them to us for swim lessons, so that we can get those kids swimming. And when kids are getting bored with swim lessons, we refer them out to them so that they can get them in competition.
Okay,
So
great.
we try to keep that going. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
So, council members, director, I would,
Mr. Chairperson, just to keep in mind, I do have one public member that's requesting to speak on this item as well.
please.
Liza Whitmore.
I think she'd be on the phone. She's not here present.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Go
Just
ahead.
wanted to make sure that everybody, when they're speaking from the audience, if you could please come up to the microphone. Those of us on Zoom cannot hear people speaking from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairperson, that is the only public speaker that I had on this item.
Okay, I was just going to say that these are all great proposals, and again, I wish we had more funding. I heard what Eric said. It's not exactly done yet, but Mr. Pittman believes in you. I've had
Thank you,
this
David.
discussion, our finances are dwindling very quickly, and we can either decide to spend the money, save the money for some unknown, and of course, admin's gonna eat up the money, eventually. I mean, it's just, something's gonna have to give. These are all good projects. I'd like to see some work get done in Oroville. So, with that being said, again, I'm really focused first and foremost about the river. And I think we've had too much money spent from SBF on non-river projects. We're getting down to our minute funding, and I'm really excited about Rotary. I think this would be the highlight for not just Orville, but Butte County. And I know a lot of other groups would, they're gonna get on board. They're gonna get on board. With that being said, I would entertain a second.
Mr. Chairman, if I might suggest an amendment to the motion, just budgetly minded. Again, they're all great projects, but suggestion to make an amendment to stay within the 200 would be that we fund the Rotary project, stage project, Orville Veterans Memorial Park. That leaves about $35,000. I would split it between the Downtown Business Association and the YMCA.
Okay, do we have a second for the amended proposal? Or do you have to rescind?
I don't know, I'm looking for the parliamentarian here.
In order to accept the friendly amendment to the first by Councilman Pittman would have to agree to it, and then it would have to be reseconded, or a second alternative motion could be made by Member Reynolds, which would then need a second.
I'm making a friendly suggestion to Councilmember Pittman. I trust his lead on this, and if he wants to go in the direction of his original motion, I will follow him. It's simply a suggestion to remain within budget. Mr. Chairman, you are correct. Funds are dwindling.
And if I could just remind the committee that these are all reimbursement style grants, type grants. So what that means is that the $100,000 that Rotary is asking for will not be paid or released until such time as they have done all of their fundraising and all of the necessary criterion has been met. My point is that could take them up to a year to get those things done. Of course, I know they hope that's not going to happen, but it could. So that gives you a little bit of time to for other additional funding to come in or for other things to happen. So just so you're aware, we're not going to go cut checks tomorrow and, hand those out, just so you're aware.
I appreciate the discussion. Given the fact of the time factor, a year or 2 years, this is kind of normal. When we look at our consent agenda, we had some other projects that were, held back by COVID and whatnot. I think I'd like to keep my original suggestion of funding all the projects and making the necessary budget adjustments, because we do have the money. I do appreciate the chairman and committee member Reynolds' comments that we're running out of funding, but at the same time, what are we going to use it for? This is what we need to put it out in the community and get things going. And the real difficulty in all these projects is getting off the application phase and getting things done. And we have so many good projects. Stage has done a wonderful job with moving things forward. So I would like to, let's say we fund them today, we can always adjust and amend as things come along, because each one of the projects may have changes that occur. And so we're not going to be bankrupt in this proposal, but we can also adjust and stay within budget if necessary. But, when we put out the $200,000, that was just an idea as a fixture, as a parentheses. We didn't know what kind of projects we're going to get. And now we have some wonderful projects. And I've been on the SBF when we had to cut numbers and do I guess the word, Claudia back there likes to call me horse trading. And we actually did horse trading in the past. And we've been told not to really do that, as we shouldn't. But I think that it makes a strong statement that it also tells our partners in this, the state water contractors, which this is pretty much their money. This is not taxpayer money. You know, gotta understand, this is ratepayer money that we're using here. So I think I'd like to, and I appreciate the comments and the idea, because we do have to stay within budget, but at this particular time, I'd like to see all these projects at least get the impetus to move forward. So I'll keep my motion to fund all the projects.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
No, I came in here, I mean, thinking a little more along the lines of trying to fiscally save some, but I just think all this stuff is really moving us in the right direction, and I kind of agree. What are we gonna do with $30,000 left over? Might as well put it to the good of the community. So I'm in agreement.
Okay, call to vote, please.
The motion carries with 4 yeses and 1 absent.
Congratulations, everybody.
You need to be congratulated, not us. You guys do.
Can't do that.
Now we gotta do the work.
Better get busy.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe we're at steering committee advisory members and staff comments.
So next we have advisory reports. First, we have one from Eric C. Do you want the clicker?
Yes, please. You can cue the slides, please. Okay, so I wanted to provide the committee with an update. This is some information that I update at these quarterly meetings. This slide is off of our website, the California Data Exchange website, and if you can see kind of right in the middle, a little bit below the middle of the chart, there's the word current, and it says 23.1. And there's an arrow pointing. That's where we are this year in our water year. So what this slide is, each line represents the amount of precipitation that we get each year. And so at the very top, just actually where you can just see in the upper right corner, that's 94.7. That was 2017. That's our highest year of record. That was, of course, the spillway year. That's how many inches of rain we got that year, 94.7 inches. So this year we're at 23.1, so we're about 25% of what we got back in 97. The reason why I show this is because we all know it's been a dry year. So I just wanted to point out just how dry of a year it is, which definitely affects lake levels at Lake Orville. And so...
So we're doing a rain dance?
Yes, we would appreciate whatever we can get. To advance the slides. Oh. There we go. There we go. Okay. So this right here is the a forecast chart. This is the latest forecast chart for Lake Orville. Unfortunately, the slides projecting, it cut off the left-hand side that had the lake elevations on. On the right-hand side, those numbers represent the storage in the lake. So that's in acre feet. So really the most important part of the slide is on that left column. I will point out right now, if you look at this is the end of the month, so end of April, that's about where we are right now. Both those two lines, typically we're somewhere in between those two lines throughout the season. So you can see where the lake is cresting right now. In fact, I think it may have been a couple of days ago that we reached our high point in the lake. So it's going to dip down quite a bit, reaching our lowest point probably sometime in around October or so, going into November. Then, of course, if it starts raining, the lake can come up, but it just really depends on weather. So we're going to see some very low lake levels this year. In fact, we're probably going to hit historic low lake levels, which is pretty amazing that, 4 years ago we were at a historic high lake level, and this year we're going to be at a historic low lake level. So it's definitely going to be a rough year for us. Fortunately, back in 2015, we built an extension onto the bottom of the boat ramp at Bidwell Canyon. So that's going to take us down deeper than we would have been otherwise. So we're definitely going to realize the benefits of that project this year. Okay, as far as flows in Feather River, this is a picture of the low flow channel of the Feather River. Of course, there's the bridge right there, Table Mountain Bridge, and our fish barrier dam. So this represents the low flow channel. This goes down and combines with the releases from the After Bay outlet, and that from there downstream is called the high flow channel. So going through town right now is 800 cubic feet per second, and there's 200 cubic feet per second being released from the After Bay outlet for a total of 1,000 cubic feet per second. So that's about as low as I've ever seen the Feather River high flow channel. So we do have temperature criteria for the low flow channel to meet for fishery purposes. So typically we keep flows up, and we are probably going to keep flows a little bit higher than the minimum this season, which is actually 600 CFS. So 800 CFS is actually higher than our minimum flows, but for fishery benefits, we decided to keep the flows up a little bit. We later on in the season, we are going to be using our river valves at Orville Dam to meet Feather River temperatures, and temperatures at the hatchery to meet that temperature criteria. So, we do have that ability. So even with the low lake levels that we're going to have, we are going to be able to maintain our temperature criteria, which means we won't go above a certain temperature. Okay, so I wanted to show this slide. I've shown this, I think this is about the third or fourth time that I've showed this slide because it shows it's showing the progress on a project. This is the new Loafer Point boat ramp facility. A lot of people haven't seen this yet because it hasn't been open yet. We had construction going on, then the fires came in and blocked the area off, and then we started work on construction of the lower stage, which I'll show you in a moment. This project really hasn't been debuted, but Lake Orville has a brand new boat ramp facility, and it's out in the Loafer Creek area. There's the existing Loafer Creek boat ramp. This is on the point out past the day use area, and there's a new boat ramp facility out there that we are calling the Loafer Point facility. And so in the picture right there, you see the upper stage. It's a two-stage boat ramp. That upper stage goes from the high water point of the lake, which is about 900 feet of elevation. It goes down to 800 feet of elevation. And then the lower stage boat ramp, which this is the actual slide I showed back in February, was under construction. So you can see it's just over the ridge from Bidwell Canyon Marina. But you can see there's a excavator that's on that the ramp. That was while it was under construction back in I think it was a January photo or so. So just wanted to show that's what it looked like then when the last time we had a meeting. This is what it looks like now. It is now completed. It is a 6-lane boat ramp with 2 boarding float lanes. In a large parking lot that will hold up to 173 total vehicles. That's 161 trailer spaces, 6 ADH spaces, and then 6 what we call ship-shaped spaces, or those kind of long rigging spaces that are kind of temporary for just people to park temporarily to tie their boat down and do that sort of thing. So this is what the new facility looks like. This is a drone photo from just recently, maybe within the last month or so. The boat ramp is not quite open yet because we have to get the boarding float final tests on that. We're really pushing to try to get it open very soon. I'd love to be able to say this weekend, but I can't say that yet. So, but if we're launching a boat around this weekend, you might want to ask somebody at state parks or DWR if it's open. We're really pushing to try to get it open. So this will be, it will complement the Bidwell Canyon boat ramp, which is also, is open right now, and also the Spillway boat ramp and Lime Saddle are open. But this will be a brand new boat ramp facility, and just can't wait to get people up there to start using it. So let's see. Also, just an update. This just occurred last week, so I thought I'd throw this slide in here. This is at the Spillway boat ramp. We planted the Chinook salmon in Lake Orville for the season. So a little over 100,000 Chinook salmon fingerlings were planted in the lake. And I always feel better when these get planted in the lake. They spend all that time in the fish hatchery, and they're raising, and you're hoping nothing happens and nothing goes wrong and everything works out. So it's just nice to see them get in the lake, and they'll grow, and within a couple of years they'll be nice, very desirable size of fish. So that's been completed, and that was just last week. So that was my update. Were there any questions?
No, appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That
Next,
it?
I don't believe we have an advisory member with us from state water contractors, so I will reach out to them to see if we can get a written update or to get someone to attend our next meeting. As for my update, it is a written update that is attached into your packet. Please let me know if you guys have any questions on that. Do you want to speak on it? We do have Jonathan Young from State Water Contractors with us via Zoom. I'm not sure if he has an update for us.
Yeah, thank you. I actually don't have any update, just hoping for more rain at some point.
Us too. Thank you. Moving on to correspondence, we have attached a correspondence from Stage, their agreement closing update. So it's just for an update for you guys on their current agreement that has closed, and they've expended all funding.
Okay. Any other comments from?
No, I would like to add that what we probably should be doing, I know some of us sit on the oversight committee with the state, and it might be worthy to have those minutes attached to SBF so that the SBF folks can understand what's going on. And we've been having virtual meetings, and I'll get you a copy of that. I think I provided it to the council, but we should probably add that to the SBF so you're aware of what kind of bigger issues are going on with the whole dam and the project. And Eric, what's the name of that committee? I can't.
It's the Orville Dam Citizens Advisory Commission.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
It's not a very complimentary acronym, but.
No, it's not. But there's about 25 to 30 members from agencies all over us, all the way down to Minnesota County that serve on it, and there's a lot of good information being dispersed there. So it should be added to the SBF.
Would either of you like to give an update on anything going on?
We would be here for another 25 minutes. I'll just bring you the text so you can read the text yourself.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's nothing else, I don't believe, do we?
I just wanted to follow up with Councilman Pittman. I was a little bit set back by that. So you're not going to give us an update?
Don't push it.
I mean, I've been working for Councilman Pittman for 10 years. This never happened. I mean, so.
First, I get it.
Yeah, boy. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
On a roll down there.
Man, go for it. All right.
Okay, if there's nobody else who has any comments, I believe we'll go ahead and, are there any other agenda items? Then we'll go ahead and adjourn at 3:51. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.